completely edge out women, and they don't want to admit that there is. In a tweet Monday, McKinnon also appeared to deny having any competitive advantage anymore from being biologically male because my body doesn't produce testosterone anymore. That's not true, dude. I mean, women's bodies produce testosterone. They just produce far more estrogen, as far as I'm aware. And the same with men. Men produce estrogen, but more testosterone. So to say that my body doesn't produce testosterone anymore, and it hasn't for nearly a decade, on being a man, someone who loves men or someone who loves women, when there are so many other genders.
Well, that's pretty encouraging, isn't it? Not only that the first quote in this
Fallout 76, there's a lot of gameplay up to a state where it is immediately used.
Tivemos aí alguns avanços. A viagem de maio foi importantíssima para uma abertura maior entre o Ministério da Agricultura e a GACC, entre as nossas equipes, muitas coisas caminhando com muita celeridade, no caso as frutas, que devemos ter o anúncio no Brasil, da abertura de melão do Brasil para a China e de pera da China para o Brasil. Temos aí mais habilitações que devem acontecer nesse intervalo aí de dias entre a visita do presidente Jair Bolsonaro e a visita do presidente Xi Jinping ao Brasil. Hoje o mercado de carnes está em ebulição aqui, a necessidade é muito grande, então aqueles frigoríficos que estão preparados, estão com os protocolos, dentro dos protocolos para exportar para a China, todos terão oportunidade, tamanho é a necessidade e a vontade de importar carne do Brasil. Temos na área também de produtos vegetais aí, o encaminhamento do protocolo de farelo de algodão, de farelo de soja, que está um pouco mais complicado, mais em andamento. Temos discutimos sobre a possibilidade de açúcar, do interesse deles em açúcar.
Overall, I like Jordan Peterson, warts and all, because just like everyone else, he is a flawed person. Like most people, he contradicts himself from time to time. He claims that he is for freedom of speech and against censorship, but he did deplatform Faith Goldie, not for what she said, but for what she didn't say.
I understand that Faith Goldie was removed from the
racial or ethnic superiority.
that seems to me to be the place where conservatism degenerates into something approximating ethno-nationalist.
Noam Chomsky in the area and on the ideas of free speech than I do with Jordan Peterson.
I don't mind the denunciations, frankly. I mind the lies. Well, I mean, intellectuals are very good at lying. They're professionals at it. You know, wonderful technique. Speech.
It doesn't feel good. You know, and that might be a reflection of my general state of mind, which is very unsettled at the moment for the reasons that I told you, and well, because of all of everything that's happened over the last few years. But to get a taste of the depth of despair that can be ameliorated with not much more than, you know, some words of encouragement, some statement that, you know, you as a human being aren't intrinsically worthless, and that you have a spirit worth preserving, and that the things that you do in your life that you do correctly are important.
While many of his followers do not see the blur between where his life advice begins to merge with his political beliefs, I do. With regards to his political posturing, I would agree with much of it on state-imposed language laws, on political correctness, and a host of other things, while at the same time I totally disagree with his stance on radical individualism. While this position is one that has its genesis within traditional Western libertarian intellectual thought, it does not take into account the radical demographic and cultural transformation that is currently underway in pretty much every single Western country. This transformation is so total and without any precedent in human history, absent the outcome of war and the subjugation of one nation by another. I think it's only natural that people would have concerns about their neighborhoods, their communities, their countries, and their civilization being used as an experiment. And an experiment that, via historical precedent, at least as far as I am aware, has never wielded positive outcomes or dividends. People, whether we like it or not, become more tribal rather than less when they feel threatened. And many people feel threatened by their countries being used as guinea pigs by transnational financial interests and the multinational corporations that they own. But all of that having been said, what makes Jordan Peterson most interesting is that he is a flawed person, just like everyone else. He is a man of contradiction. He is a man with divergent and at times inconsistent ideas and worldviews. But that's the point. Divergency of ideas, of inconsistent thoughts, of playing with ideas. Unfortunately, we're now living in a society that is becoming increasingly polarized and has metastasized one side of the political spectrum into seething ideologues, demanding purity of dogmatic belief. There can be no dissension. There can be no deviation. These same people who demand conformity demand that no outside ideas be allowed to exist. These same people that promote the existence of a never-ending number of genders also see all things in black and white. You can be as intersectional in correct ideas and identities as you like, but to them, there are only two true identities, only two kinds of people, woke and Nazis. There is no in-between, no spectrum. If you agree with anything President Cheeto Hitler has to say, well, you are a Nazi and deserve to be spit on for your beliefs, at the very least.
In 2016, something that the president was really proud of in his campaign was that it was self-funded and that he had a lot of...
Being ripped, thought, and what...
Hey, Homeless Bob here. I want to talk to you today about the bus project, lighting concerns, other things, and why I'm making this video in the first place. Check it. Yeah, that's more of Pachuto's thing. It doesn't really work for me. I'll start with the bus project, because why not? I'm in here. As you can see, part 2 is underway. This roof section is gone, and soon all of this will be gone, and that's ready for raising, etc., etc. I'm taking part 2 of this bus project quite a bit differently. I'm using a different approach than I did for part
The greatest and most ridiculous Dreamcast peripherals. Hey, it's your boy Derek, and this is Stop Skeletons and Fighting, the Dreamcast. In many ways, it was dead on arrival when it launched in North America on 9/9/99, over 20 years ago. What were you doing 20 years ago? I don't even think about it. It's best remembered as the system that killed Sega. Well, it's best remembered for a lot of reasons, but that's kind of the big one. But to be honest, they were well known for years for confusing add-ons and weird peripherals, like way before the Dreamcast. The cracks were beginning to show for Sega. Stiff competition from Sony, combined with the declining popularity of arcades, meant the Dreamcast needed to be a huge hit, which it actually was in North America, thanks to maybe the greatest launch lineup of all time, but it actually flopped pretty hard in Japan, sealing Sega's fate. Still, it remains one of the most cherished and greatest gaming machines ever made. I mean, Sega went out, but they went out with a bang. The Dreamcast's short-lived success was multifaceted. Much can be said about its marketing. The games. I mean, it gave the world the greatest game that has ever or will ever be made, Illbleed. But one of the Dreamcast's more impressive feats was its arsenal of peripheral devices. Dreamcast was an impressive last gasp of peripherals from the peripheral king. This is Punching Weight, a celebration of the weird, ambitious, and unnecessary. And we are back